Welcome back, everybody, to the Triad of the Force, a Puerto Rican podcast where our culture, stories, and perspectives shape how we see the galaxy far, far away and frame how we explore Star Wars and other nerd-related media.
Like today.
Welcome back, everybody. We've been trying to keep up with everything. As we say recently, you know, the world is exploding and adulting is a thing. But there's a couple of themes we want to talk about today. And we said last episode that we really wanted to talk about sci-fi amazingness Project Hail Mary, which I did get a chance to watch.
Woo!
So
we did it.
We are so excited to talk about it. Before we start focusing completely on Maul Shadow Lord, which we will begin coverage of next week, and we'll go all the way towards the end. So we are going to be completely Star Wars centric for a while. But today we wanted to diverge a little bit and talk about things that are going on around the world, and then do a deep dive discussion into Project Hail Mary, which if you haven't watched, it's in the theaters. It's definitely worth a watch in the theaters. And we will be talking spoilers. So once we start talking about Project Hail Mary, if you haven't seen it, you can walk away. It's, you know, at your own risk listening.
But a good risk, you know? I think it's a risk worth taking, because I mean, regardless of spoilers, right? It's a movie that even if you know exactly what's going to happen, I think the way that the film is shot, the acting, and all the emotional beats of everything that happens in it is such a beautiful film that I think even if you know the ending, you're gonna still love it. But but that being said, come into it with without knowing, because I think it's gonna be a more beautiful ride, like we were talking about last week. But like you said, a little housekeeping about the world and everything. Somehow it seems that a lot of these things are synced with Star Wars and everything, because we're talking about sci-fi with Project Hail Mary, our favorite franchise is sci-fi, but the big Star Wars connection, I mean, two obviously, with Ryan Gosling being the lead in Project Hail Mary, but also leading the next Star Wars film next year with Starfighter. But then the big spicy one, right? Having Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the directors of Project Hail Mary, being infamous in the Star Wars galaxy for being fired during not before, but during the filming of Solo. So we'll talk about that. Big what ifs. But another synergistic thing with sci-fi, a beautiful thing happened today, something that hasn't happened in 50 years. NASA launched the Artemis 2 rocket to go to the moon. We're not landing at the moon this time, but apparently we're just, doing orbit around it for information gathering. Then there's going to be another rocket that's going to land on the moon after this. But, it's just, it's beautiful. To quote George Lucas, it rhymes, right? We were talking about Hail Mary, we were talking about Star Wars, but then now in the real world, we see this little glimmer of hope and light that is space exploration and NASA, which, incredible that an agency that makes that gets almost no money from the federal government inspires so much advancement and hope in the galaxy.
No, it's kind of insane. I mean, like how everything's coming together, and now we have some real, like, actual, space exploration happening, as like so many cool sci-fi things are coming back. I think it's kind of especially poignant considering that some people are, saying online that kind of like sci-fi is dead and all these things, which is completely unreal, aside from the fact that I think it's the 5th season of For All Mankind just got released. It's
amazing, apparently, yeah.
It is amazing. I know that Alex Damon is a big fan, and I've kind of wanted to talk to him about it because I don't know anybody that actually watches it. Me and Hosbando are like huge fans. We have been from season 1. At this point, we don't really know how they've actually kept it going for this long. Some of the characters are like really old.
And it's something I didn't know about the show. And maybe it's a spoiler. I don't know if it's a spoiler or if everyone already knew this, but it's an alternate history show, like the Man in the High Castle kind of thing. I didn't know that. It
is. I mean, and not to spoil, because it happens on the very first episode. It's what would have happened if the Soviets land on the moon before us. And then one of the genius things about the show that I love every single season is like after they show you like that first intro, it goes into the sequence of the introduction of the show and it gives you a timeline. Like in these decades, this is what happened. And you can see what has been different like during the years.
Comparison with actual history, like this is what happens with the show with versus
like at some point, like Al Gore actually was president of the United States, and
could have
like,
been.
So it's I always love that part of it when they show you like what the future could have looked like if just like this one incident in the past would have changed, and how because the Soviets actually got there first, it became a true war for the stars, and how eventually they actually make it to Mars, and like all these crazy. It's actually really good.
I'm sure the Star Wars program was a little more aggressive. And again, connecting history to Star Wars.
Yes.
But I mean, we live in a different reality where we have different horrors that we have to go through. But it's the Artemis launch is just one of those things where I don't remember last time that there was this much hype over a rocket launch or just
because I feel like in general people have forgotten about it. I feel like people have kind of forgotten about NASA and kind of like put in the back burner and didn't really care about space exploration anymore. So it's really cool that it's like back in the news.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it's one of those things where ICE has more money than a lot of the world militaries, and all they do is inspire fear and it's not doing good things for humanity. I mean, humanity for the United States at all. And this one moment, like NASA with a fraction of that budget is able to bring people together all around the world, and just inspire hope, right? That we as humans can come together and just do great things. And it's insane I was watching the broadcast. I mean, I was at work, so I couldn't see it live. So I saw the whole thing after when I got home, and just seeing, this humans strap into a metal cylinder full of jet fuel that just launches them. I don't know how many thousands of miles per hour into space. It's just a testament to the will of humankind, and it's it's incredible and inspiring.
It is,
and inspiration. We have to kind of keep it going because it's very difficult times that we're living in, but we have to also take moments to celebrate. And I'd be remiss if we didn't take a moment to celebrate and acknowledge this week was the trans day of remembrance. And now more than ever, we always have to celebrate our siblings in all of the communities, especially communities that are marginalized, but especially the trans community now more than ever, since they're being so viciously attacked by this government in a very nonsensical way. It's just people that want to be themselves and express themselves and be able to love and exist.
Yeah.
And the attacks that they're facing is cruel and unusual. So now, like I was saying, like now more than ever, we have to see them, heighten them, support them, love them, because, just because people want to ban them doesn't mean they're going to stop existing. So to all of our trans siblings out there, we love you, we see you, we celebrate you, and, we fight for you. So Trial of the Force, celebrates our trans siblings out there. Speaking of more horrors, Supreme Court, and I only bring it up because you're a lawyer. I know you're not, you're not constitutional. I know you don't deal with Supreme Court things, but you obviously know a little bit more than the law than I do. So today, I think today the hearing started about Trump's executive order banning birthright citizenship. So, it seems from the little that I read that even the conservative judges seem to be, apprehensive or dubious about the government's claims of where they can do this, especially because they're constitutional literalists. I mean, when it's convenient to them, I guess. So seems like it maybe they'll actually rule against the president on this one, but not. Give us your take. No one wants to hear my layman dumb opinion. I want to hear your educated one.
Educated one when I haven't really been paying attention to what's happening. I apologize. like you said, I am not a constitutional lawyer. We knew that this was happening today. And I think one of my bosses was having it, like playing in the background for a while. But we have like literal actual cases with literal actual clients,
You're a
in
little
jail.
busy. You're a little busy. Yeah.
So yeah, obviously public policy is super important, but I am not completely up to date. I know that this Supreme Court especially has been famous for taking away rights that we have attained. Not all those rights were attained the correct way because it was kind of a weird adaptation of the Constitution. So sometimes if it's not a direct amendment onto the Constitution and just based on case law, which is supposed to be respected, it was before. But because there weren't actual
like Roe versus Wade,
amendments,
all the
like Roe versus
conservatives
Wade,
said that it was settled law until it wasn't.
Yeah. Except the actual holding wasn't Roe v. Wade, it was Casey versus Planned Parenthood.
There you go. See, you know.
Yeah. But it was kind of based off of the line that Roe versus Wade started. But yeah, but they're taking away a lot of rights, but the birthright citizenship has been around since they freed the slaves. So it's a little different from the gained liberties that have come during the past decades, like gay marriage, which is also at risk because if they overturned
Obergefell.
Obergefell.
There we go. I'm like, I know it's something I can't pronounce.
Interracial marriage is another one.
Hey, if they do those things, we're cooked as a nation. Because if we go back to the days of the Klan, I mean, what are we even doing as a society? But let's.
So
enough
citizenship
with the
is ridiculous one, right? Because unless you're Native American,
you're an immigrant, claim,
right?
I mean,
even our president and his wife. So if you're born in the United States of America, you're an American citizenship. That's
all of Trump's wives actually are foreign ladies that came to this country and had anchor babies, right? Well, rules for thee, but not for the elite, right? It's just like, you guys pay taxes. We don't pay taxes. You guys follow the law. We don't have to. You go fight the war. I'll go back to the White House. It's just all these things from just like, I don't know. It seems like one of those obvious things that any person could see that, it's just plain wrong. This isn't really about left or right. It's just about pure human decency, some of these things. And the fact that, evil people will do evil things. That one I understand completely.
Well, and
but
especially the
people
fact that
supporting it, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get people supporting it. I mean, the United States of America was based on opening their doors and bringing immigrants and being the melting pot and letting all these cultures mix together. And now it just feels like unless you're white, upper class American, you don't count for anything. So it's sad. It's incredibly sad.
It's a message of division, but where some people seek to divide us, some art seeks to unite us, right? Through collective experiences. And one of those collective experiences is going to the cinema. To quote Nicole Kidman, when those lights come down and, and the projector turns on, whatever the hell she said, and magic happens. And today we're talking about one of the most magical experiences I've had in the movie theater, and that's Project Hail Mary, a movie that we briefly talked about on last episode, a movie that I very passionately tried to convince you to go see, even though you have not finished the book. And I am very happy that I convinced you because...
And now we can talk about it.
It's such a wonderful movie. And I definitely want your perspective because you're coming at it from both sides, right? Where some people read the book, saw a movie. Some people like me
and I'm kind of in between.
Didn't read the book and saw a movie, and then you're right in the smack dab in the middle for both experiences. So looking forward to hearing that. I talked a little bit about my experience last episode. So let's kick things off with you. Obviously, before going to the theater, tell us, you were reading the book, so tell us a little bit about how you heard about the book, how you got into it, how much you were liking it, and then, you know, taking that leap of faith from not finishing the book to seeing this movie.
Yeah. So as soon as the trailer came out, I think like way back when, because they started promoting this movie very early on, but it was like teasers and stuff, so nobody really knew what it was about. So it turns out that this colleague of mine, who is a Star Wars fan, as soon as it came out, he's like, I have this book. I have been obsessed with this book for years. I feel like you will appreciate it. And then he lent it to another colleague who's like more into, because I'm not necessarily into pure sci-fi for reading purposes.
Fantasy, right? Yeah.
I'm more fantasy. So he talked about it. He's like, well, I'm going to lend it to this other coworker who is like more into sci-fi, see what they think. And then when they're done, I'm going to give it to you. And I was like, perfect. Sounds great. I kind of avoided watching the trailers and everything because I didn't want to get spoilers for the book. And when I first got it, the problem was it was months ago. And when I first got it, I read through where I got in like a weekend, which, you know, to yours
that's intense.
Have seen the movie, I got all the way to when he receives the message for the first time.
Oh,
and is trying to figure out how to figure it out. So I got pretty
like a third, right? Like a third of the way, more or less. Yeah.
In like a weekend. So I was like, I'm gonna get this done in no time. But then, you know, life happens. I have to read so much for work. Everything started picking up, and I just never got the chance to finish it. And then sometimes because it's not my book, I didn't want to like fold the pages, and I didn't have an actual page marker. So you don't do that.
You don't do that.
So I didn't actually mark it. So I wasn't sure where exactly it was. So I would think about it, and it's like, you know what? I should just get some work done, blah, blah, blah. Movie comes out. Started getting amazing reviews. We talked about it. You said you loved it. Who went in with no expectations. Like I said last time, I had the conversation with the colleague who lent me the book, and they're like, you should finish it because it's like such a great experience. But at the same time, I didn't want to miss the opportunity to watch it in the movie theaters. So I said, you know what? Let's just go. Wally Hosbando, from the trailers, he was just like, it's fine. It looks like...
That was the reaction to the trailer.
Yeah.
Got it.
And kind of just to go see it, it's like, I really want to go watch this movie. He's like, I'll take you if you want, but I'm not super excited. It just kind of looks like a lesser Interstellar to me.
Oh, so interesting. Because I wanted to talk a little bit about Interstellar.
Yeah.
About interesting, okay.
And it's like, you know what? I'm not all that... From what I saw from the trailers, I'm not all that excited. I was like, it's fine. You're my husband. You just have to go and sit next to me. It's fine. Loved it as well. You know, he was just like, oh my God, that was not what I was really expecting to see. And I was going to say that I was a little worried because this author, Weir, I mean, he's done it before because he did The Martian. And
excellent
it's a lot,
also.
Which is also excellent. And it's, you know, it's Matt Damon. This one's Ryan Gosling. They're all excellent. But there's always a fear when you have one character being alone for an extensive period of the film. And I didn't read The Martian, so I don't know how accurate that was to the film. But a lot of the very beginning of the film is just Grace by himself, you know, and some of the best parts of that in the book is that, you know, Ryland Grace has this kind of really good sense of humor about how he narrates everything that's happening, because it's a little bit more shocking when it does happen, because when he wakes up at the beginning, he doesn't know his name, has no idea where he is. The robot of the ship is really literal. So when he tries to get information, it's like wrong command, cannot compute, wrong command, you know, and it's kind of this process of him trying to figure everything out. And the only interactions are when he has the flashbacks, when he starts slowly getting his memories back and trying to figure out where he is. But there's so much humor in the way that his brain was working that I thought it was really going to be hard to translate that into film, because you would lose so much if you had like an active narrator.
Right.
And the way they pulled it off was, I was not expecting, like we said before, Ryan Gosling is unfair. The fact that he was able to pull off like
two handsome.
Nerd, like bumbling, awkward nerd. He pulled it off completely. The humor was there. I mean, and as we've talked about a lot before, it's show, not tell. You don't
Mm-hmm.
need to
Mm-hmm.
tell everyone what's happening. You just have to show it. And I think the film really excelled in that, in just expressing the emotions through the visuals, the sound, the acting itself. The emotion comes through without necessarily using words, especially then later when we find Rocky and the
Mm-hmm.
whole process of them trying to communicate with each other. I think it was fantastic. Like, honestly. And it's like 2.5 hours long. It doesn't feel like it is.
Mm-hmm.
It has fantastic pacing, which when I was talking to my colleague, it's like, I saw it, I didn't finish the book. I know there were details that were missed, but the fact is that for them to keep a movie that was that long, that well paced,
Mm-hmm.
if you go into all the details of everything that happens, you would unnecessarily make it slow and then ruin that pace.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they did a really good job of adapting what are two completely different mediums without destroying the source material,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I think, really hard to do, and they completely pulled off. Obviously, I didn't get all the way through the book, so I can't judge all of it, but the film was fantastic. I enjoyed every moment.
Are you planning on finishing the book now that you finished the
just
movie?
To
or
compare,
you're just like, I don't need to.
I am. Nah, I feel like I kind of want to just
inverse. Now you have the inverse relationship with with reading the book.
Yes.
And seeing if it fits with like how you were
Mm-hmm.
visualizing everything. And then another question, because I think this has been a big, not just for this movie, but with a lot of like big blockbuster films that have been coming out lately. What format did you see it in? What kind of movie theater did you see it in?
So I did CXC, which they have here
Mm-hmm.
in Puerto Rico. I don't know how that translates because it's not IMAX. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
the best screen itself, but it has like the best sound.
Yeah.
And
So
sometimes, especially with
for everyone listening, back home, there's only really one movie theater chain. It's called Caribbean Cinemas.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I mean, I was gonna say it's great, but it's a monopoly. It has
so
to be
it's
great because it's the only one.
Yeah.
And the best way I could describe CXC for everyone listening is Dolby Vision from AMC, which like has like the Dolby Atmos sound, Dolby Vision. The screens in CXC are bigger than Dolby Vision here, but smaller, obviously, than IMAX.
IMAX, yeah.
That's how I would describe it for everyone that does not know what CXC is.
Yeah. That's because I was like, how do I explain CXC? Because I don't think they have that everywhere.
Yeah, what's it? It's a Caribbean.
Because it's like Caribbean Extreme
right?
something. Yeah, I think it's something like that.
Something like that. So like it was very like 2000s, like extreme. And
I know.
It's like okay, you can just call it premium or whatever.
It's fine. Yeah. So I went there and because for some reason, I mean, I think there's only 2 theaters that have IMAX in Puerto Rico right now. Maybe there's a third one, but right now it's like the Monteda Theater and the Distrito Theater.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I didn't know
and Distrito, I think they have an IMAX too.
And then they have like the not the 40X, the one that has
the one
like
that moves
super
around.
White, the one that's like super white screen. It's like more screens around you. I haven't been to
one
of those, but I don't need to. Yeah, 40X is the one that has the kind of
the
roller
moving
coaster.
ones.
Yeah. That one I would recommend for people to do after you see the movie once.
Yeah.
And then like you experience that you're able to watch it, and then you can just have fun and not have to focus in it.
Yeah, because if you're moving around, you can't really focus that much on the film. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, so they had really weird like schedules for the IMAX viewings, and I was like, hey, no, I'm gonna go to this one. But the sound, I mean, like sometimes you could literally feel like the seats vibrating. I mean, it feels very in the moment when you go to the big screen. So obviously the better quality, but regardless, I think just in general, if you can get to a theater to watch this film, it's completely worth it. I mean, it's aside from the story being completely engaging and emotional, I cried like 5 different times throughout the movie. It's also gorgeous. It's like legitimately gorgeous.
100%. Like that's one of the things that I really latched onto watching the film. You know, there's so many things, right, that we can talk about, but specifically the how it engages all your senses, right? Because the visuals of the movie were stunning, which I think was very interesting because I don't know if you got this vibe, but a lot of the cinematography, especially for the shots of the Hail Mary ship,
Hmm.
right? To me, feel very reminiscent of 2001: A Space Odyssey, especially
It
like
does, yeah.
in how it was shot, like
Hmm.
the texture of the film itself. It
And kind
was
of
giving me,
shots from like behind him,
yeah,
like
yeah.
him looking out, and yeah. Hmm.
It felt it gave me those vibes, which like obviously appropriate, to do like a sci-fi movie homaging one of the greatest sci-fi
Hmm.
films of all time, also, but giving it that grounded aesthetic of like an older film, but also making it visually stunning and how it
Yeah.
uses color, especially like the astrophage scene when it changes from just seeing the world in green and all of a sudden like switching with the turning off the infrared or whatever the hell it was and seeing everything the pink
Yeah.
dust or glitter, whatever the hell it was. Absolutely magical and stunning. And it was one of those
Yeah.
things where, and I'm happy that you brought up Interstellar, because in that specific scene, I mean, I love going to the movies and I love seeing, things on the big screen, but I feel like the last time that I gasped or like, was
In
absolutely
wonder.
blown away
Yeah.
by the images that were being projected in front of me was Interstellar. I remember in Interstellar, the scene when they go into the wormhole and it's just a sphere and the ship is just going right into it and the whole ship is vibrating. I remember that was basically a religious experience, right? Watching Christopher Nolan's
Yeah.
Interstellar. And I had that exact same experience watching Project Hail Mary. But the visuals, like we were talking about, incredible. The sound design also so good, but the score, like such
Oh yeah.
a beautiful score that was composed for this film. I need
Yeah.
to didn't do my homework and didn't look at who the composer was for this film, but such a good score that I just immediately went and like pre-ordered special edition vinyl of the movie because I'm like,
Of
no,
course you
I've got
did.
to,
Because it was
I
amazing.
have
It
to.
was amazing. Yeah.
It was inspiring, right? Like every moment of awe visually was equally matched by a audible awe with how the music was
Yeah.
elevating everything. So
And
it's
then with
just
the emotions that are coming through, with the acting, and it was everything. It was an amazing combination of just
mhm.
all these factors that made a movie that I was looking forward to, but was not expecting it
Yeah.
to be nearly as good.
Got the composer Daniel Pemberton. Daniel Pemberton. I wasn't familiar with his game, but now but now I know. Now I know. Uh, but one of the things that's interesting, right? You can have a movie that has all those great things, like great score, great
Mhm.
visuals, great production design, great sound design, but if the movie itself doesn't have an emotional core, doesn't have a
Yeah.
compelling story, those things fall apart. And
Yeah.
obviously, this movie works because at the heart of everything is a heartfelt story,
Yeah.
not just of saving humanity, right? Any Marvel movie can do that, and I say that with love because I love Marvel movies.
Right.
But
But yeah.
but it's not about saving humanity. It's about finding yourself through friendship, and the relationship with
Rocky.
Rocky and Grace. Ryan Gosling's character is one of the most beautiful things that I have seen committed to film. So how did you feel about that? I think one of the things that some people online, when I was seeing the reactions to the
Yeah.
trailer, is that they were upset that the trailer revealed, right, that this was going to
Rocky.
be an
Yeah.
alien movie and
Hmm.
Rocky was in it and all that stuff. Uh, how did you feel? Did you feel like that was a necessary thing that had to be revealed, or does that like intrigued you more? Or since you didn't watch the
So
trailer, you didn't even know?
yeah. So I ignored it, so I didn't even know. But I do remember my colleague being really upset when the trailer came out, being like, one of the most important things was revealed, because when you're reading the book, you don't realize they're getting there.
Hmm.
And there is a moment in the book that I did read, and it's when he first encounters Dot A, which is this ship. And before, the canister is sent, because you don't
Hmm.
know if this ship is like a guardian of this planet,
Hmm.
if
Hmm.
if there's living things inside, if it's just automated. Like, there's no knowledge of anything. And they didn't show the scene, but Ryland Grace looks out the window and he sees a waving hand.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's the moment where you're like, oh, life, because this whole time, there's that exclamation when they finally reveal that the dots, the astrophages, are like actual cellular life. It's like, oh, it's our first contact with alien life, but this is like an actual wave. And this is the moment where my colleague was saying, I thought I was going to sleep reading it. And then I read this scene. I was like, I need to figure out what's in this ship. And then, they, according to my colleague, they kind of ruin it by letting everybody know that it is an actual alien, and then they actually show you Rocky and the whole everything. I don't know if it took away or not from it, because I hadn't actually got to the part where I met Rocky. So to me, it was still amazing. And I didn't see the design for Rocky in the trailers because I didn't get to watch them. And I don't know how Rocky was described in the book, because I got just as far as before Ryland meets Rocky. So I don't know how Rocky was actually described. The character design to me was so amazing. I fell in love with Rocky immediately. I thought he was great. And I think, going back to Interstellar, I think it's amazing that these non-human characters are sometimes the best one, because for me, Tars was one of the best things in Interstellar. Here, Rocky is amazing. I think a little detail that they kept from the films is that, Rocky's blind because his planet is apparently completely dark. So their species never develop sight. And that's why it's like echolocation kind of things. But I loved all of it. I loved the design. I loved how he literally looks like a rock, and he's a genius.
Yeah.
Their ship is way more advanced than the human ship, with all that it entails. And I think it's also because I was talking to my colleague after I watched the movie. It's like, hey, I can't believe you watched it before finishing the book, but it's okay. Let me tell you a few of the things that I know that are different from the book, that apparently you also find out that they were so bad, and it's the reason that the entire crew died on the way, because this was their first attempt at interstellar travel from this species. So, humanity has been doing it forever, obviously not nearly as far as they go this time, but their species had never left the planet. So the fact that this was their first mission and they already knew so much is kind of crazy. So.
Interesting.
How do you feel about...
Obviously, I didn't know that piece.
Yeah.
About the trailer? I think...
Did it excite you to see, like...
I thought it was interesting because at first, I think maybe there was a teaser trailer that didn't show it. So like at first I was just like, oh, this is just like, The Martian. So, but instead of being in Mars, he's just in space. Yeah. So like in hindsight now, look, or like thinking about the trailer, I'm just like, yeah, it makes sense, right? That they would show this, because that's what the movie's about. It's not about a man lost in space. It's about a man making a friend, Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's just like, that's what the movie's about. So I also understand like showing it so that people that are, not apprehensive. So they know what they're getting, right?
Or not know anything about the book and would not otherwise necessarily get excited, and they see it, and like you said, it's the same author as The Martian. So is it? Am I just getting a rehash of the same film?
Exactly. And it's not by
no,
leaps and bounds.
It's not this. It's not even close to the same.
And it's a testament to just having different directors interpret material, like this, because Ridley Scott, made a great movie. I love The Martian. It's a movie that I'd love to rewatch every time that I don't know what else to watch, and I see it on HBO or wherever. I'm just like, okay, let's watch The Martian.
I'm gonna watch it.
Great.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of humor in it as well, but it's more, it takes itself a little more seriously, right? And I think that was something that I was somewhat apprehensive about, right? Coming into Project Hail Mary, because
that it was going to take itself too seriously.
No, the opposite. Because I know that.
Oh, okay.
Because I know that Phil Lord and Chris Miller, they did 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street.
Right.
They got fired from Solo for improvising too much comedy. The Spider-Verse films, which are great, but they have a tone right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, is this movie just gonna be goofy all the time? You know, are they gonna lean too much into the 21 Jump Street humor?
And then lose the seriousness of it. Yeah.
The gravitas, right?
Right.
That's what I was worried about, you know, but I'm just like open mind, open heart. Just like, let's go see it. And part of me was proven right because the movie is extremely goofy because Ryan Gosling's character is extremely quirky and it's always quippy and all these things. And Rocky's also like a hilarious character, in his own right. But it never feels like it's too much, and they let all the heavy moments breathe and have the heaviness that they need to for us as an audience member to feel the impact of them. So they I mean, they never went full, full, this is just outright comedy. So I think they did a great job. And while I was watching it, especially during the astrophage scene, which is transcendental, for anyone who hasn't seen it, go to the movie theater right now, watch it, because that movie, I mean, that scene is going to change your life. I just kept thinking, like, man, like, what was Solo? I mean, should they have been fired from Solo? Which I think we should say for the end. I think we should keep talking about a Hail Mary. But another thing that I think was great beyond Rocky and Grace's relationship was everyone talks, and rightfully so, about that Rock and Ryan Gosling, but it's also Ryan Gosling's relationship with the, I don't know if she's the NASA scientist, but with Sandra Huller's character, Eva Strat, who's trying to convince him to go into the program, and then reluctantly, as we say at work, voluntells him that he must do that. So I think her character was, instrumental, right, in grounding the film and shifting it not just from a buddy film, but into like a very intense and serious film about saving humanity,
the possible end of the world situation. Yeah.
So what was, I mean, and she has one of the most important quintessential moments in the film, which is the the karaoke scene, and then the voluntelling, which I thought was so poignant. But let's start with just overall her character and how you felt about her. Like, obviously coming from the book, how did you feel she was translated into the film?
I think she was absolutely fantastic. There was an aura of mysteriousness to her. I think they explain a little bit more exactly why she has as much power as she has. But I like that they keep it even more mysterious than they did in the book, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, the power.
You don't need to know everything. And how it's like, so who's in charge? I am. And why do you have all these resources? Because I do. I have no need to explain myself to you. I mean, it was so great. And the fact that it's a woman with all this power, I thought it was just so great. So I think she was cast to perfection. She played that character to perfection. And it was really cool how she played off from this version of Ryan Gosling, like that he's kind of like so confused. And especially when you meet him, first on the ship. So you don't know why he's there, really. And then he starts to remember who he is, and he's just like a school teacher, and then suddenly with that, you were one of the most acknowledged like microbiologists till blah, 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 blah. And I love some of the scenes, especially when he's doing like the research on the astrophages. And it's like, so I'm kind of totally expendable. It doesn't matter if I die. And sure, going back to like all this.
We would prefer if you don't, something like that. Yeah.
Which is not a denial that it doesn't matter. So there were some really cool scenes of the interaction, and it is because, like I was saying, Ryland Grace has kind of this humor to him. So I think it was really good that they brought this into the film. Obviously, there's also a lot of seriousness to it, and those scenes are way longer. Like to like breed the astrophages takes way longer time and all these things. But again, I feel like the pace of the film would have been affected if you go into all the details of this. But everything that happened there and everything that was happening with her character, there was a lot more happening. Like there was a lot of depth into if we don't do this, it is the end of the world. We're running out of time. This is taking forever. This is our last resort. We don't have a plan B. This is it. So I thought she was great. What did you think?
I mean, I always love a dry character, especially a character has dry humor.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember when we were discussing this. We were talking about some comedic film or TV show in which we were talking that not everyone can be the funny person. Someone has to play it straight. Because otherwise, like, if everyone's being funny, like, it's just not,
nobody's really
the jokes
funny.
don't really land. Because then it's just everyone trying to out funny each other. And like in this one, Ryan Gosling is the comedic character. So her character being like the dry
counterpoint
foil to him in a way. I mean, she's not the antagonist by any means, but she's a foil of sorts to him because he's pushing him out of his comfort zone, and he kind of doesn't want to. So the fact that she plays off so well and naturally with his character was such a pleasant dynamic, right? Because it's always like these these duos. It's Ryan Gosling and Rocky. It's Ryan Gosling and her character. Ryan Gosling and I forgot the guy from who
was fantastic as well.
Oh my god! What's the show? It's not called Chef. Now I need to look it up. Cuisine show Chicago. I'm gonna kill myself if I don't. Where is it? What's that show with
The Bear?
The Bear. There we go. That's the guy from The Bear, right?
Is it?
The guy that
it's the pâtissier, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I
haven't seen
right
The
away.
Bear. I've only seen a couple of scenes here and there. So
The Bear's fantastic, by the way.
I know. I started the first season, but I just didn't get through it for reasons. For reasons. But yes, those just like everything kind of like jumps from that relationship over, and I think all of them help highlight different aspects, right, of Ryan's character, and his character helps bring out the creativity, right, of like finding joy again and being a scientist. Rocky helps him find himself and finding joy and being a human and finding purpose in life, and then she eventually helps him to find courage into like doing the right thing, because she has that scene, right, with the great karaoke scene that everyone's talking about, where she's singing Harry Styles' "Sign of the Times," which I had no idea was a Harry Styles song, and I had never heard that song before. And I was like, that song is great, and it's gonna be stuck in my head forever.
I had heard the song. I didn't know it was Harry Styles.
Hey, boy crushed it apparently, and she crushed it in that scene, which gave her another layer, of just not being this cold, calculating person that's just
who nobody really had a real connection to. And then she started singing, and everybody was like, wow, like that brings out the humanity in her in a different way that I thought was great, that everybody could appreciate. Okay, she's the boss, she's the one that lets us know where we have to be, but she's a person too. And so it was so good.
It's so good because it does that on the one hand, right? You see her, she becomes a person, that is trying to connect emotionally with her crew to some degree, but then immediately is the VolunTOLD scene where she's like, you don't really have a choice in doing this.
Well, and even when she's done, when she starts becoming too emotional, she's like, you know what, that's enough, bye, and she leaves. Like, she doesn't actually finish the song, so she actually is setting limits to herself as well.
Boundaries are important.
Yeah.
We all should,
especially in the position of power that she is, that she realizes that she's not making decisions for herself or for any individual person. She's trying to make the greater good decision, which is, you can be the villain if you live that way. But I mean, I feel like from her perspective, knowing that if she hadn't sent Ryland, the world would have ended. Right. So she did an evil, but did she really?
Yeah, I mean, I think as you were saying that, I had to write it down so I didn't forget. It's she does the Luthen. She has her Luthen moment where she's like, I burned my life for a future I might not see, and she's just like, I have to do what could be perceived as wrong, right? With like going over someone's consent,
autonomy.
right? To do this and autonomy to do this because they're the person that will save us, even if they can't see it themselves. And I thought that was such a good twist, right? To the film, because I didn't expect that he didn't volunteer, and you expect the hero to volunteer. It's like, yes, I will
I'm
find
a hero. I
will
got this.
find my purpose, and in the moment of truth, I might doubt myself, but I will find courage.
I still
to do
chose
it.
the path. Yeah.
And the fact that he didn't, I thought was such a brilliant twist. I mean, it was like, that is genius as in terms of like the gut punch of the film, to be like, oh, he was a coward. He didn't want to do it. Like he didn't find courage. And the only way he found his courage was through friendship. Beautiful. You know, it was incredible storytelling. And again, I don't know how it plays out in the book, but I think they did a really good job at like how they're framing it, especially like cutting it in and out with like the past and the present. So you obviously at the beginning of the film, you know that he doesn't remember some things, but you don't know that, you don't expect him to not have volunteered, right, for the mission.
And then I never even got that far, so I don't know how accurate it is that he was actually tricked into going.
Well, he wasn't tricked at all. He was just like, you're going.
I mean, he was like told, you're done.
He was kidnapped.
He was
not mince words about it. Like,
I mean, because I do remember that one of the issues at the beginning is how we're going to make this trip happen. And they talk about the whole putting in on the coma and all these things. And they go into the science of it and say that it's actually way harder than science fiction has made it to be, that people cannot just survive in a coma state, and that there's a distinct like genetic pool of people that can actually survive it, and there's still like a very low percentage that they're going to make it that far. And they test everybody in the team, and it turns out that Ryland Grace does have that profile.
What a coinky
and then the rest of the team actually did have it, but it was like such a low percentage of survival that's why it wasn't something that happened. The other two team members just didn't make it. They did not survive. So
interesting. So I was wondering about them. I was like, okay, they
so
don't
they
really
do
explain.
So they do go a little bit more into that, and they have more flashbacks of him and how he relates to the other two team members. There was like more interaction, like they had become friends like through the whole process. So they do downgrade a little bit when he finds them, and they're just dead, and I'm gonna give them a send off, which was very respectful and all the things. But there was more depth to it. But again, at the end of the day, like we've discussed, like mediums are all different. Like book, graphic comic, regular comics, animation, film, they're all different. And sometimes you err on changing so much the original medium that it turns into something else and it's terrible. But then sometimes you err on the other side of trying to keep it so accurate that you don't translate it into medium that you're using, and then it just is not engaging in the new medium. So I think this film did a really good job of, and again, I didn't finish the entire book, so anybody out there that read the entire book can say that I'm completely wrong, but I think they did a really good job of keeping the soul of what the book is without letting, the page to page that's happening affect the pacing and what you want to get through to the audience. So in that sense, there were changes, but I think the overall was not affected. And I think the film is really strong as it is. And it hits so many beats, honestly. I mean, watching Rocky roll around in his little crystal ball, it's and the sounds that he makes. I mean, it's just so great. And the interaction of trying to figure out how they learn each other's language, the whole scene of them picking a voice. I think it's hilarious when they tried to use Meryl Streep, and it's like, she can do everything, but no, next.
Yes.
So there's moments of just that you feel so happy, and then you're so devastated. I really thought Rocky died, and I was like crying my heart out, like I'm done. Like if Rocky dies, I'm done. So I think I did get to enjoy certain things because I didn't know the end. And I watching certain things without knowing what was going to happen, and I was devastated. Like when I thought we lost Rocky, I was just utterly devastated. So
I mean, that scene, Rocky just delivers devastation like all the time. Like when one of the and in a good way, in a good way. I mean that. But I mean, I wanted to say it before I forgot, right? Because Star Wars: The High Republic has a rock character called Geode, but
Yeah.
that character does not. You don't perceive them move. Hilarious character, a fan favorite of High Republic fans out there. But once I saw Rocky, I was like, is Geode gonna be dethroned? I hate to say it, but I think so.
I think
But
so.
anyway, that scene when Grace and Rocky are talking about, you know, their relationships and where they come from and who they've been with and all that stuff, and then Rocky's talking about their partner,
Their partner.
how many
Yes.
hundreds of years they were
Yeah.
together, and then Grace is just, you know, oh, that's a very long time, and then Rocky says, not enough time. I was like, oh my god, like
Right.
how is this an anim? I mean, he's not animated, he's animated.
Yeah.
But how is this character without a face and with a robotic voice able
Giving us
to
all the feels.
give us like more emotion than like half the movies and TV shows that are
Mhm.
produced, and people want to replace that heart with AI? I don't.
Yeah, I know.
I can't even
It's
imagine
yeah.
it. It's such a beautiful thing, right? That Grace was able to just find himself through an expression. I mean, he's not expressionless because he's able to express, but you know, just with a rock. You know, I
Yeah.
think it takes masterful storytelling because you can write it, right? You can
Yeah.
write whatever you want, but to convey that in a
Convey
way
it like
that's
especially at the
believable.
beginning when there's like they can't understand each other. It's like slow clicking of wait, how can I let me do the math. Okay. And the slow process of figuring everything out. And
Understanding
it's
like how they, because
yeah.
math
It's
is a
not just
universal
sound.
language,
Yeah,
but
it's
how do
not just
you
sound, it's a
understand it?
language. How do I
Yeah.
translate that to something that I can understand? And not just that I can understand, but that they can understand me. Because it goes both
Mhm.
ways and it's so amazing. It's so good. It's so good. Oh, I want to watch it again now.
And one
Yeah.
thing, I mean, same.
Yeah.
One thing that I think I hyped up last when we were talking last
Mhm.
week, and I was talking to you about this movie. I talked to you about a mic drop, no, a needle drop. I think that's the right term in the film that absolutely blew my mind. Did you perceive it? You can say no, and I'll be devastated, but you can say no. It's the
Probably.
scene when they've got the astrophage, they got the samples they need to
Mhm.
go back to their respective planets, and
Uh-huh.
then he realizes that he needs to go back for Rocky because otherwise he's gonna die because the containment is gonna
Uh-huh.
destroy
Yeah.
the atmosphere in his ship. And
Mhm.
then the moment when he's deciding like I don't have enough fuel to come back to Earth, so do I let Rocky die and save humanity,
Mhm.
or do I turn around and save my friend? And then he
Mhm.
makes the decision to save Rocky. And when the ship turns, all of a sudden, one of my favorite songs from the Beatles, Two of Us, starts
Oh,
playing.
I
And I was just like, that's a gut punch. I loved it so much. One of my favorite
I
Beatles song used in the best possible way.
I wouldn't have said needle drop, but in the moment that it happened, I started singing along
So
in the
beautiful.
middle of the theater. And Wadi's like, "We're in the theater. We're not at home." I don't give a crap. And I just started singing along. Yeah. Sorry that I didn't notice it as a needle drop.
It's
I
fine.
just
It's fine. It's fine. I know that, yeah, especially compared to the Sign of the Times scene. I think not a lot of people think about the Beatles. They're thinking about Harry
no, but I
Styles
started
with this movie.
no. I started singing along to the Beatles. So
Great.
I mean, the
Thank you.
soundtrack was so good.
Yeah.
I mean, the soundtrack was really it was really amazing. I mean, the use of appropriate like actual songs to the moments, but then score
Mhm,
throughout
mhm.
and kind of whimsy when it needs to be and serious when it does and kind of just awe inspiring like when you see um I think it is the planet that has the astrophages, which is like this weird combination of kind of like green with
Mhm,
kind of
mhm.
looks like a Van Gogh
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
planet. I mean, I don't know. The visuals are just absolutely insane. So
Definitely deserves to be seen in the best format
in the big
possible.
screen, yeah.
I saw it here, one of my favorite movie theaters here in Chicago called the Music Box. I talk ad nauseum about that movie theater. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. I saw it in 70 millimeter. but it looked amazing. But the only problem, and I use problem with a lowercase p, not a big deal,
Mm-hmm.
is that the screen right at the music box, it's limited by the age of the
Mm-hmm.
theater and the size of the theater. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the biggest screen available. So even though we're getting 70 millimeter, we're not getting the biggest image possible.
Yeah.
So I would like, to do a rewatch in IMAX or something and just experience it, because I've been seeing on social media all the posts from projectionists kind of showing like that scene, right? Of how,
Yeah.
I mean, it looks amazing already in,
Yeah.
in a regular projection, widescreen, but in that IMAX ratio, which is a little more square, where you get
Yeah.
so much more of the image, seeing like how much more majesty the IMAX is giving you. I'm just like, okay, I might need to
Yeah.
rewatch it in a bigger format, because it
Yeah.
deserves it, and it's a good time.
It is a good time. It is a really good time. So honestly, like whoever hasn't gone to the theaters to watch it yet, it's definitely worth it. It's I think it's the most fun I've had in the movies in a long
Yeah,
time. It
yeah,
was just
yeah.
that good.
We go
It
through all the emotions through in that movie.
laughing, crying, just it's really
And
good.
just joy, and
And joy.
the ending. It's such a interesting ending, because you expect, compared to The Martian, right? Same
Yeah.
author, similar
hmm
film, so it's a apt comparison. You expect him to either either go home or be rescued and go home, but there's a
hmm
version where like the hero comes back Earth and saves the day. And the fact
Yeah.
that this movie is just like, no, because he's not. I mean, sure, he's saving the world and all that stuff, but the movie's not about him saving the world. It's about saving himself and learning to find joy and like doing the thing that he wants to do. And that the movie ends him in the Rocky's planet, and not just in
Being a
Rocky's
school
planet
teacher?
with his best friend, but doing what he loves to do, which is
Yes.
teaching children. And it's like, I mean, how does your
Glorious.
how do
So
you
good.
not walk out of the movie theater with a big smile on your face?
Yeah.
I don't know. I did. I don't think. I mean, I'm thinking about it and
I'm
just
happy about it
smiling.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
smiling
know.
about it. So did you want him to return to Earth, or do you think that this ending was perfect?
I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted it to end. I liked that for a second. It's like him trying to make that decision, and I heard that the ending is a little different. They keep you kind of in the he doesn't make a decision for a really long time, and then he kind of just wakes up. So you think he wakes up back home, and then it's him in the classroom. So they give you a little bit more of, oh, we made a biosphere so you
Mhm.
can actually live here and all the things. So they gave a little bit more heft to the fact that he
Mhm.
did choose to stay with Rocky. Um, I thought it was a perfect ending because, like you said, it's the cliche is, oh, he just goes back home, but he really didn't have much back home. At the beginning, I mean, he kind of became a school teacher because he failed
Mhm.
as, a microbiologist or whatever it was he was originally. And through his relationship with Rocky, he realized that is what he loves because
Mhm.
in teaching Rocky and Rocky teaching him, and he found his family with Rocky. So he had no idea what his planet was going to be like, but
Mhm.
this
Mhm. Mhm.
became his family, and you can see that he's like so excited to be
Happy. Yeah.
teaching this group of children at the end that he just found his joy. So I thought it was perfect.
Mhm.
I just I left like, oh my god, that was so good. So
Perfect. Perfect. It was not what I expected, but
yeah.
definitely what I needed
hmm
when it happened. And I also like that it was intercut with Ava Strat's character receiving like all the samples
Right.
and
Yeah.
being like, happy that she's like, hey, I did something bad, but I knew that he could
It
do
worked
it.
out. hmm
So, it's such a beautiful way to just end it, with hope and joy and
Yeah.
happiness that we so desperately need in our world, where it seems that every day we wake up to new horrors and war and kidnappings and, and just things that are just seem like every day
Rights
things are
being
going
taken
wrong.
away.
So, cinema is like this beautiful thing where it gives us something back, right? It gives us that part of the human experience that we may be missing, and Bright Tell Mary gave us a big chunk of heart that we needed. But before we wrap up, we have to we mentioned at the beginning the Star Wars connection, not just with Ryan Gosling, but with the directors of the film, Chris Miller and Phil Lord, having been the original directors of Solo, A Star Wars Story, way back in the day. They were fired by Kathy Kennedy because of their, alleged shenanigans, taking too long to film and improvising too much and not sticking to the script, bringing in Ron Howard, which, another man that made a great space film with Apollo 13, and Bryce Dallas Howard, who's his daughter, who's made so many amazing Mandalorian episodes. But at the time, Solo, fine, right? I don't hate the movie. I don't love the movie. I think it's perfectly serviceable Star Wars movie. But watching Project Hail Mary, I can't stop thinking about the what if.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think after watching this, do you think that they should have stayed on, or do you think that they're, the things that occurred during that production and the result of them being let go maybe gave them a newfound maturity to approach things maybe in a different way? We could see it both ways. What do you think?
Honestly, I don't know that much of the details of everything that happened with Solo, and I don't think we're ever gonna know everything that happened, because a lot of things are allegedly this happened, allegedly that happened. You know what I mean? So, and I think we've discussed before that sometimes Star Wars can, Star Wars in general can be kind of like constricting your creativity, because it's so much about what Star Wars is supposed to be and what we want Star Wars to be, as opposed to letting creators, leave their mark, which is one of the reasons that we love Vision so much, because it's so much of like a reinterpretation of what Star Wars can be and what Star Wars stories should be. So, I mean, I don't know if one of the reasons that they were accused of, taking too long or whatever is because they wanted to be more creative with it. Which, as we've seen with this film, they should have been let be more creative and give us something different. Because like you said, I'm not, to me, Solo is not, I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just kind of
in the
there.
Middle. Yeah, it floats around. Yeah.
So I don't know. So it could have gone either way, I think. I mean, maybe if they were let on and giving a little bit more free reign, they could have made something really special. And or maybe the fact that they were let go from that project gave them a little bit more focus, and they were able to make something as amazing as this. Or maybe they just stuck to their guns that I want to be more creative, and they were able to make something as amazing as this. So, because this film is not completely tied to the source material. Like, they do take their, liberties with it while keeping the soul of it. So who knows? Maybe it was a massive mistake getting rid of them, or maybe it made them better directors. I don't know. I'm just happy with Project Hail Mary.
That's kind of what I was going to go to, regardless of a what if scenario. Somehow I don't see. I mean, and who knows, right? Like, we can never know, right? Because that past doesn't exist. But I'm kind of thankful almost that they got fired, because in many ways, I don't think we would have gotten this version of Project Hail Mary if they hadn't gone through that. So I'm sure that there was, a specific chain of events that occurred once they got fired from Solo that led to, this, an uppercase M masterpiece that Project Hail Mary is, because I think this is one of the great, I don't think I'm exaggerating. This is one of the great films of the last couple of years. And I'm very happy.
It was amazing.
And I think I prefer to have this movie as, its own product that's not franchise. We have enough franchise, so it's good to see like new stories like this, even though it's based on a book, but you know what I mean.
But it's still
stands on its own and is able to prove that film is a great medium that doesn't need to rely on franchises to survive, or AI. Exactly. Like, if real people tell heartfelt stories, people will go see them, and I think that people are seeing it, right? It's a smash hit at the box office, getting great reviews, and everyone's still, us included, talking about it. Everyone's
and apparently
still going
the book
to see
has
it.
become a bestseller once again.
I pre-ordered it, so.
Yeah, Yeah.
So obviously I had to order a special edition. I like my collectibles.
I know.
So yeah, so I kind of, it's fun to think about their version of Solo, but I prefer to rewatch their existing Project Hail Mary. Yes. I think that's the word on it.
Yep. And I think that's it.
For today.
So we are Triad of the Force. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know if you have seen and or read Project Hail Mary, what you think of the book, the film, everything surrounding it. How much you love Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Can Rocky take Geode in a fight? We have to solve the important questions of our time. Let us know in the comments.
Correct. So thank you so much for joining us. Starting next week, we are going to be covering Maul Shadow Lord with amazing guest stars. We announced them last episode, so feel free to check that out as well. So remember, may the Force be with you.